Happy 4th, everybody, for all of the American friends out there. Adam, you celebrate the 4th down there in Costa Rica?
I celebrate the 4th every day, baby. It's Freedom Day, baby.
Yeah, do people like fireworks down there? I know there's like a bunch of Americans down there.
A bunch of Americans. They always have like the embassy always has like a big party and stuff like that. I mean, I never go to it, but yeah, there's always, some celebrations happening down here for sure.
Damn. Well, the price action's being very unpatriotic today. It is horrendous. Chris, happy 4th to you, brother. What are you doing this today to celebrate America?
Happy 4th, happy 4th. I'm out here in Newport Beach at the moment.
Damn.
So made it out to Cali for a quick little beach holiday. Still kind of fighting a cold, so it's kind of a damper, but price action hasn't been helping either, I suppose. But yeah. Stoked to see Emblem markets live. Was a pretty good 2 weeks over here for Emblem Vault. And so kind of excited to get into now like the fun stuff of kind of building more community-based events and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So a little background of that, we've learned a lot about how marketplaces work, and we had to basically get on just a chat. We have a chat with Reservoir to figure out what the issue was, and it was an API related issue, which has now been solved, and it's time to get back to work and put in a bunch of these features that we need to do. But speaking of Emblem Markets, we had 4 huge sales back to back after not seeing activity on Spells of Genesis for quite some time. Spells of Genesis on OpenSea got up to, it was like almost top 10 in volume. I'll have to see where it is right now. We saw basically four of these cards, 2 Satoshi cards and 2 FD cards sold for around 9.5 ETH each. For those that don't know, Spells of Genesis is the first NFT collection ever. At least that's what people claim. There's a lot of arguments around, the legitimacy of the claim in terms of like, was the collection intentional, right? Are Namecoin assets NFTs? What's a collection? But Essentially, it's the first. You could just say it's the first or one of the earliest NFT collections ever in history, and it happened on Counterparty in 2015. The FD card is the first card in Spells of Genesis, and then the Satoshi card is the card that Leonidas has in his profile picture. And both of these supplies, I think the FD card's like a 50 supply, and the Satoshi card, I think, it's like a 300 or something like that. Adam, do you know off the top of your head?
I'm not sure. I think it's 300. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. Don't quote me on that. But I mean, the first, one of the early kind of gaming assets. That's the big deal. I mean, this was clearly a game. Spells of Genesis was a game launched on Counterparty and stuff, and so kind of gaming assets. Really tough to argue others being first than this, and so certainly if we think gaming is going to come to crypto. The first kind of real game assets are pretty cool. The FD card has a whole other kind of story around it about how you had to basically earn it through this like mining process. You had to use your computer to help this like, I don't know, protein folding research and stuff. It was really kind of this cool thing that Shaban did to kind of launch the card. So it's got a long history, to it, which provides kind of more depth to it. So it's certainly, if you're into historical NFTs, the FD card is one of these ones kind of, I don't want to use the word grail, but it's pretty much a grail. If you're going to go for gaming, it's basically the one.
Yeah, let's see. Satoshi card 9.4 ETH, FD card 9.4 ETH, and then Satoshi and FD card 25K USDC each. So putting up almost 30 ETH in volume for the Spells of Genesis card. You can see here on Emblem Markets. We're unsure if it was purchased by Emblem Markets. I kind of consider everything Emblem Markets at this point. All the listings were on OpenSea. So on Etherscan, you could see that the marketplace fee was routed to OpenSea, but we have no idea where it was purchased. Was it purchased on OpenSea directly, or was it purchased on Emblem Markets? It'll be something to be determined. But honestly, at this point in time, for us, it doesn't really matter, right? As long as the vaults are getting some activity, and maybe Emblem Markets is helping with some discoverability. That's kind of the most important thing, because we're a vault business at the end of the day. So really cool to see Spells of Genesis being in the spotlight. Maybe Emblem Markets, or this idea that Emblem Vault V2 is now kind of underway, is bringing some more interest and discoverability back to the collection, or it's just a mere coincidence. Who really knows? But something to follow as we move forward. First thing I want to talk about today, I woke up kind of interesting announcement. Did they remove it? Unisat just announced that Binance has led their pre-A round, which was completed in May 2024. The strategic investment strengthens the ongoing technical and business partnership between both parties and lays a solid foundation for even greater collaboration in the future. Does this mean we're getting a pizza listing on Binance? This is what close us into oblivion.
How's your pizza doing, by the way? How's what's the price on pizza right now?
Let's go, dude. It's honestly held up quite well. I've been making these charts. I've been making these kind of comparisons. It's really followed dog in terms of price structure. Like if dog goes up, pizza goes up. If dog goes down, pizza goes down. And they got these cool little they got a few features they added here on Unisat, which was nice. They added a sweeping tool for BRC20, which I'm sure it probably was a bitch to figure out how to do this even. But really cool feature there. The price is at $3.85, so it's relatively flat. They have a nice little chart here, and it looks like pizza's pumping because of the Binance announcement. As you can see here on the chart, it's just kind of a big price movement upwards right there. See it right here.
Tell me what you see those guys who are watching on the live stream. Yeah, those outlier dots. Like, what is that, man? What's going on there when I see that?
Yeah, so because you're purchasing BRC20 in packets, same as like runes, people just basically manipulate the price. So you can see here the amount was 2 pizza. So a lot of these are just like one kind of individual. See 1 pizza, 2 pizza. And so they'll list them like really high. So see the price there, it says 11,000 sats per pizza. It's just people doing like manipulative tactics and then buyers not really realizing.
So a
that.
buyer accidentally having it set to like high to low prices or something, and then just getting hit and buy and not realizing because it cost $30 that they bought something.
Yeah. Our buddy Cody, I don't know if he's in the show, if he's listening today. He had the same thing happen to him with dog, where somebody listed one dog, like literally one single dog for $300, and he didn't realize what was going on there, or like 5 dog or something like that. And basically just got owned. So this is kind of the same idea. So you want to look kind of at the bottom market movement, but Binance is leading Unisat. The question
honestly,
here,
why would they even have, I'm sorry, but marketplaces like this, why would you even have a high to low option? Right? Because it's only, that's like, I mean, unless you're talking about like NFTs where, okay, there's the super rare or something like that. But for this, why would you even have the option? Because you're only going to get wrecked people with that thing. Right?
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, look at this.
Dude, I mean,
That's a good relevant point. So the question here is then, what's next for Unisat? They're backed by Binance, and obviously this just means a funnel for BRC20 to listings on Binance. But is there anything more here that is leading people to believe? Does this mean that BRC20 is back, or is this just Binance wants exposure to the BRC20 space in case something happens? So this is more of an investment on Binance's side to get exposure versus Unisat being able to scale.
Yeah, it seems to me like, Binance. I mean, it would be interesting to know. Do you have any idea what kind of money they raised?
I remember this was, so their first round they raised was at a $50 million valuation. This was last year. I think it was around like May 2023 when it first popped up. Here, there's no note because both companies are private, so they don't have to say it. But if you look here, this says that they just closed this May 2024.
So that was probably that previous round. It's just finally closed, basically.
Yeah. I mean, if you had to guess here, what would you think the round that they would close at here?
I mean,
what's the valuation of Unisat?
$50 million valuation. I mean, it's hard to say hard to imagine that number didn't shrink, or the amount,
It's got to be much higher here. The infrastructure is so much more improved on Unisat. The thing here, though, is like they don't really have any traction outside BRC20. Magic Eden ripped away any runes traction they had, and Atomicals has really not gained anything necessary.
That's what I'm saying. So either the valuation, they manipulate the valuation where, okay, the people who are putting money in are getting more of the valuation, right? But it's hard to see. I mean, the early, we saw the frothiness of when BRC20 was kind of taken off, and if it was negotiated then, but then only closed in May, it's hard to imagine that didn't get kind of renegotiated to a better deal for investors, because the traction is very much lost, right? So it's, I mean, let's be clear, it's at risk that this, I mean, you think it's going to survive. I think it's like 50-50 that this becomes the fungible token protocol on Bitcoin, but there's significant risk in that investment, right? Significant. But I mean, it's better, I'd love to be partnered with Binance. Like, that's great for them, right? In theory, but
yeah, I mean, yeah, curious on what else happens here. The market's been quite slow. I mean, meme coins are kind of holding on. So I'm going to cover some features here that I thought was interesting. Trying to find some new things in the market. One of them, Leo at or.io added the degen chat. Adam, did you go and explore this at all?
I didn't play around with it. I did go on the site and just look at it and stuff. But, I said to Leo, I think it's like, bro, if this was in 2021, imagine if this was on OpenSea. How this would have.
Yeah, this is the site here. Sorry.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, you're cut. I think you're cutting out a little bit. I don't know what happened with your mic there.
Yeah, I mean, you heard that music, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't hear it on my side.
Oh, you didn't hear that? Yeah, that was loud. Yeah, don't click on that video again. That was really loud. Yeah, the video plays. So if you guys aren't watching on the live screen, Jake clicked on like the video that Or.io posted about the chatting, and Yeah, I mean, I was just saying, like on OpenSea, this was something that honestly we were trying to like the ideas were out there. Like, God, how do we connect communities like this, right? Give them a place where if you're a holder to like, chat, where it's not like you got to go into a separate Discord and stuff. This is just, I thought it was a great idea. I don't know how well, what kind of traction it's getting now, but I like the idea of it. It's pretty cool. Certainly for meme tokens, I think this is actually kind of much cooler than what's going on like Pump.Fun, where you have this like kind of sheet, but then it's like, yeah, God, there's just so much manipulation and stuff. And it only gives you this like really brief window to chat. I think this is like an interesting way for, where you don't have to set up a separate group on X or anything like this, where people can just go there and kind of, the cabal of a coin kind of chat together. I think it's a great idea. I like it.
The interesting social features that I've been following here, and we know Leo is, very stringent about UI UX, which, is smart because most of these projects really lack it. So if you look here on the chat, I found this interesting. I don't know how I feel about it yet. This number here by your name. So here it says Maggie 11,175. That's your rank in terms of holders, in terms of like how much dog you own here. So you could kind of come in the chat and flex if you're the number one, or, if you're the lower one. I still don't think these like SocialFi properties have really taken off yet. I do think they will eventually, but is this necessary? Right? I mean, most of the stuff happens on Twitter, all the conversation anyways, but it is in the step in the right direction. And these are things that we're looking towards for Emblem markets as well. Kind of these like boutique kind of storefronts here.
I think it works really well for like meme coins, because meme coins, it's very much about like, okay, you got to share the links so people can go like stuff, pump it, grab memes, retweet it, right? It's like that kind of like hype cycle. And so I think it does work. It should
Do you think
work.
this can replace Discord? I mean, meme coins don't really have Discords, right? So is this kind of replacing it?
I think to a large degree, yeah, you can form like these little communities around it. I mean, you see, for example, with some Solana coins and stuff, people try to the telegrams right now are set up in it, but you're in multiple coins, right? And so there's not really one place where you're just talking about a coin. And I think for Bitcoin, this is a nice little thing to have. I think we'll see 6 months down the road, it'll either die completely or be really used, right? It's like, where's the cabal gonna kind of do their cabal stuff? And it could be this. I think it's certainly worthy of a try for sure.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. They're cooking at Ord.io. They got 2 million in funding. Merlin Chain posted something today about doing something that's similar to what Emblem Vault's doing. They're trying to abstract away accounts. So here they're going with account abstraction, and now they're officially part of the Particle Network. If you've ever moved that or used Particle Network, right? It's basically this, it's called account abstraction. So if you, for example, open up a MetaMask wallet on there, it'll give you a symmetrical wallet for all of these other networks, for like Near and all these other ones. So you can do it kind of in one interface. So Merlin seems to just be going more towards this kind of multi-chain project that just has a focus on Bitcoin layer 2s. They also came out and they launched a grant program, and they launched grant program, and then now they're starting to do some incentives. The token price is horrifically down, like 90.
Tell me about it. What's it at right now? What's happening there?
I checked this morning. It was at 25 cents. It was at like almost $2 at one point. So again, it's just, it's a byproduct of those high FDV, low float tokens. And if you look at all of these, whether it's Jupiter or whether it's Merlin or Wormhole or Layer 0 or Blast, I think this meta is starting to come to an end. Yeah. And I think people are really getting sick of it. But VCs are smart. They'll figure out a different way to, extract as much capital as possible and then just funnel it back into the ecosystem. Quite interesting there. This one, do you follow this? The Runes State Machine. This was all over the timeline a few days ago around this kind of meta of programmable runes.
Yeah, I know. Isabel was getting a bit of hate on the timeline. I saw that. I jumped in a couple spaces with her and stuff, and it sounded like it might have been a little bit early, right, to start hyping it up. So yeah, she got quite a bit of blowback about it, but yeah, go dive into
So
it.
this one's a different programmable runes, but so Isabel, right? She posted about programmable runes, and she actually psyoped us to her own company, which I thought was kind of funny, right? It was like, whereas it programmable runes are coming. I wonder who it is, and it was the oil team the whole time.
Like, but wait, that I didn't hear. I thought she was like, I just know a guy, and this guy, I'm just friends with him.
It was the oil team. Yeah,
it's like, yeah, it's a guy who's on my team who's gonna. Is that right? Is that true? Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the perfect psyop. Honestly, they did it really well. Isabel's a smart lady. She knows what she's doing. So I think to counter that, it seems like there's been a handful of teams that are really kind of coming after this further programmability. And so Michael, I don't know how you pronounce it. He was a creator of BRC 100, which was kind of like a programmable BRC 20. It didn't really catch any attention. And so he just funneled kind of a similar model to runes and is calling it the Rune State Machine. We saw Businessman was hyping it up, and I think now it's in like the top 20 or top 30 for tokens. I mean, you look at this chart, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
Wait,
right?
So they already launched a runes token to be like what the gas of this machine?
I think so. I mean, I've tried to read it, and Michael. So it's number 17 in market cap right now. It has a $5 million market cap.
How much?
700 trades today. So it might be. Oh, it is the number one traded runes today in terms of the amount. So 703. It has 6 more trades than Dog at 697. And let's see how many owners this has. Up to almost 3,000 holders. So it is pretty high. There's a lot of attention here. I mean, if you're going to be honest, right, if you're going to go after utility, you're probably going to want to, if you're interested in utility tokens on runes, this is probably one that you'd be interested in. It's built by somebody who's been in the ordinal space since the beginning, or pretty close to the beginning. And now he's taking the lessons that he learned from BRC 100 and applying it over to the Rune State Machine. I'm going to be honest here. I've read the docs and I really tried to dive into it. Some of it really goes over my head, but the short version of it is that they're applying smart contracts to this somehow to basically do DeFi with runes. And it would be something similar to like its own kind of meta protocol, or you call it a runes extension protocol. It seems to be like a name that is floating around here. And I'm really unsure about the decentralized aspect to it. How decentralized is it? Is this one of those situations where you have to wrap your runes and then you deposit it into their protocol? I mean, you look at this, right? You open up this doc here, and the first thing you're hit with is literally 20 different contracts for everything from collateral-backed stablecoins to airdrops to decentralized on-chain governance contracts to asset vesting contracts. So there's 16 of them. And the question is, right, how do these contracts, or I guess smart contracts, or maybe they're JSONs or VMs of some sort, how is this integrating with Bitcoin?
Right.
Is
how do I get my runes in there, and how do I? Yeah.
Is this being put on another blockchain? Is it an app chain? Is it an off-chain indexer? Right? How is all of this interacting with each other? And looking at this, it doesn't really tell me, to be honest. I'm sure it is a little bit further down here, but it's interesting to say the least. It's a state machine. Oh, it looks like here there's like a JSON, I guess. I don't know. I think it's something to follow, though. I mean, if you like utility, I do think utility is coming, and I am actually quite interested personally in utility aspects. I mean, we've explored this option with Emblem Vault. There's options for, I think Magiset has a token, Liquidium has a token, and from the rumblings that I hear, a lot of these utility tokens are planning for late Q3, early Q4 kind of launches once the market picks back up. And I'm interested in it. I mean, at the end of the day, you have kind of this like exploratory area of programmable runes and the utility aspect of it, or you go to OPCat, I guess, which a lot of people are bullish on. Listen to that Spaces with Udi. And I do want to talk about that probably next here, but I do want to go over to Everyday, who has his hand up. Thanks for being patient. What's on your mind?
Hey, Jake, Adam. Yeah, Chris as well. I just want to say, first of all, congratulations. I mean, the beta launch, at least, of Emblem Markets. I've been vaulting like there's no tomorrow, so I hope you guys see that activity coming through. But yeah, somebody pinned the tweet that I posted. I just wanted to kind of, if you back up and just get perspective, like 2017, I was playing that game, Spells of Genesis.
Wow, this tweet's from 2017. Wow.
2017, but check out the deck. So I was playing the deck, I was playing the game with Satoshi card, Zaji Boss, folding card, which is FD card, and then block size CD.
Look at you, man. That's awesome.
But dude, this is the thing that got me back in the game in 21, was that Shaban retweeted that, and he was like, dude, this deck is worth like over $1 million.
Yes.
And I didn't believe it. I'd been out of the game for probably that 5 years. I got tired of it. So Shaban pulled me back in, and it, just brings it full circle. Like, you posted those 2 cards that sold for, what were they, 25K each?
Yep.
Yeah. So, I thought I'd missed out. I was like, oh man, because I'd already sold Satoshi and FD card at that point. So I was like, there's never going to be a chance to get back in. They were $500,000 each. And now, I mean, Bitcoin at 60K or 57 or whatever it is today. But you just never know, right? And I've got to be honest, like getting back in 21, the only real way to trade was through like Telegram. I mean, the tools were pretty basic, right? So a lot of it was over the counter through Telegram chat and trying to build trust, between seller and buyer. So what you guys are doing with Emblem Vaults, it just takes it to the next level. I mean, I don't know who bought and sold those cards for 25K, but I know that trust was not an issue, right? They knew it would work. Maybe they had a broker that lined up the deal, but it's just crazy to see how far we've come, from 2017 to 2021 to present day. So I just want to give you guys flowers for building these tools, because it's, for collectors and traders, it's so important, man. So yeah, anyway, congratulations.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it was really exciting to see some Spells of Genesis action, right? We don't know if it was the interest was sparked because Emblem Markets was back and, right, we're moving into kind of our next stage, or it just happened to be a coincidence. But seeing those 4 large sales it's really awesome. And eventually, I think once Counterparty 2.0 comes back online, I think you'll probably see a lot of renewed interest once you could get these on like native trading. And then after that, right, taking it all kind of cross chain and participating in that network. So that will be a little bit interesting. From what it sounded like when we talked with the stamps community on Tuesday, sounded like it was maybe Counterparty 2.0 was maybe 2 to like 4 months away, 5 months away. It sounded like the upgrade was going to be next, but then you still need a wallet extension support, right? Whether X-Force comes out and supports it, or Leather, or the Counterparty dev team builds their own. Without that, right, you can't have this native trading, and then you need the marketplaces to come in and support it. And it'll probably be maybe a month or 2. People are going to have to experiment with it and see what works, what doesn't. I'd be interested to see how these like semi-fungible assets trade on natively. So I don't think we've really seen that yet. Yep. Outside of BitGod's Quadrillion, which literally went to 0 pretty much. That was like one of my worst trades this year.
I forget what that even was. What was that? Was that just art pieces, like 10K art piece or something? What was that?
It was like 21 different pieces of art that had different supplies between like 70 to 200.
Yep.
And the market just completely rejected it. Didn't want it at all. they made a little bit of a bag doing it, and then they did their art house, which was a private auction with Skrilla's art. So it's really still unsure how well that did. They said it sold out. I don't see any confirmation anywhere, so I just don't really know. But I applaud him for trying to do this art stuff, native art on Bitcoin. Right now, just getting hammered. Nobody really wants it.
Better than dead.
I mean, honestly, historical NFTs are kind of in the same position, right? People don't really want these either. I mean, there's a community behind it, and as we know, as historical NFT holders, right, you have time on your side. That's the whole point of it. So it was you buy it and you hold it for 10 years was kind of like the whole idea.
I mean, like to think about. I mean, we said it in 21. Sorry, Everyday. I'll give you a second. And but we talked about it in 21. It was like the reality was there were probably a couple hundred of us, maybe at the peak, and like hardcore, and the rest were just there to flip in and out and get out as quick as possible. And so, you know, there's still the hardcore group, but realistically, it's probably 100 or 200 people, you know, in the world who believe in historical NFTs. You know, I think we'll be right long term, but again, this may be a decade or a 2-decade trade, which most people don't want to do.
And I was gonna say the crazy thing is, you know, with like old toys, like collectibles and toys, there's a nostalgia pump, right? The people that had them when they were kids,
Yep.
They get a job, they get a 401k, they have a little bit of extra money, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna yeet $1,000 on Luke Skywalker original or whatever it is. The funny thing is, those Spells of Genesis, they already have nostalgia for me.
Yep.
And that was only, you know, it was within the last decade or so. So I think we're going to see a nostalgia pump. And the thing to keep in mind is that team is still building. Spells of Genesis, I actually installed the game again yesterday, and it's still fun. It's still cool. It's still fun to play. And I know they're building in the background. They've got something planned. So, you know, not that I have any alpha, but wouldn't surprise me if Shaban and the team have something up their sleeves. Maybe it could be related to runes. It could have some different kind of L2 play. But, you know, I think back in the day, we always wanted there to be Bit Crystals was the native token. And they never quite got it where you could have a marketplace in the game where you could buy and sell. You know, I think the vision was you could buy and sell with Bit Crystals. I don't know whether it was regulation or technology, or it was probably the tech. But I don't know. That'd be amazing if they re-release the game and you can have a native marketplace where you trade on an L2 or hint trade with Emblem vaults. You know, that'd be amazing.
Well, actually, I don't know if this was irony or maybe Shaban's listening with an alt account, but he actually finally just DM'd me the Spells of Genesis API that I asked for like 4 months. So now I think we could finally get some traits on these motherfuckers. I've been asking for him for literally months.
Yeah.
So he just DM'd me that, so we could finally have that on Emblem Markets and all the different marketplaces. I do have here pulled up on the live stream that Shaban did tease. It looks like he's building a counterparty marketplace and minting platform. It says marketplace, but the screenshot is for Spells of Genesis creating cards. So I can't tell if this is like a complete counterparty marketplace or just a minting platform. Maybe it's both, but it is a little bit of a screenshot.
And that was the birth of Rare Pepe. So, you know, there was a group of us chatting, and there was a kind of a hint of a promise that we could maybe have our own Spells of Genesis cards. And they realized when they saw the artwork coming in, they were like, maybe we don't make this a community project. And then somebody messaged me and said, hey, you can't create your own Spells of Genesis, but you can do Rare Pepe, like come over here. And that's where a lot of people came from.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe he opens it up a little bit. I mean, if there's somebody who's going to do a native counterparty marketplace, it's probably Shaban, who has the credibility, or the Pepe guys, or Magic Eden comes in and just like kind of offers support. But we're probably a few months away, maybe end of the quarter, beginning of next quarter. Could be longer. I don't know. And something I've learned with development is always try to double whatever they say it is to feel a little bit safer. But yeah, it's cool and very exciting to see it all making its way back. I do want to move over to the conversation that I was listening to yesterday with OP Cat. This seems to be, you know, the hot topic. And every time I sit there and listen to it, I just first applaud them for taking on this initiative. I try to steel man it and think of like, is this really the perfect solution? Is it not? Right? What is Cat VM? What's their angle? Right? They raised all this money. And one thing I just think of quite how expansive it is. It really reminds me of almost like a military operation on Bitcoin. There's this whole political kind of initiative here, right? Where they came in and you know how politics go on Bitcoin when it comes to, you know, adding a new feature, a soft fork, or a bit kind of approval here. You see Blockstream coming out and kind of like shitting on them a little bit, but then also potentially, you know, saying maybe this is a good thing.
Yeah.
So you have that whole political kind of angle to it. Then you think about the token angle, and you're like, okay, well, they sold these quantum cats for, I think they've raised like $9 million or $10 million, right? So now they have these NFTs. They still have the Taproot Wizards, which are locked. They're also scaling in terms of hiring just all the talent. They just hired Cypher. Udi said yesterday they hired some developers that people would be surprised. My guess would be they're probably hiring some of the like Bitcoin core devs to come over. And the way that they layer this type of content between, you know, Starknet's going to build with OPCat and all these other L2s are making their way, dude, I just have to applaud. It's a quite a large initiative to take on. And I think they're doing really well doing it.
Yeah. The strategy is you got to give it to Udi and Eric, man. The strategy is like top shelf, man. Top shelf marketing, the whole integration of the entire thing to get people on their side to push this forward is, and you know, I tip my hat. I think it's been brilliantly executed. The way Udi defends it, the way he talks about it in the space, like it's an already done deal when it's literally 1,000,000 miles away from being a done deal. But he's talking about it like you'd have to be a fool not to think this isn't a done deal. You know, it's just it's smart strategy to where, like, I assume it's going to get done. Most people in the space assume it's going to get done, right? And you'd have to be a fool to think anything other than it. And you're a crazy person. You're Luke Dash Jr. to think this isn't going to happen, right? And yeah, it's fucking brilliant, man. The strategy is really brilliant.
And these, so what I was listening to yesterday, so these different missions that they put the community through to kind of talk about all the different functions of it. This one is the Bitcoin vaults, where apparently you can like store your assets using OPCat, but then there needs to be some sort of approval. So it makes it some sort of like hacker proof, I guess. The thing that I've been thinking about was, okay, you go through this initiative, right? The whole idea of decentralization. And now there's this operation function that anyone could use called OPCat. I just think about the counterparty risk that no one's really considered is somebody creating a Cat VM competitor, right? Like kind of alongside it that no one's realizing. Like what if Blockstream comes in and uses it? I know Udi and them have their you know, they're doing well, or they're just hiring all the talent to basically say, if you want to compete with us, we have literally everyone who could do it. And then on the other side of this is, if OPCat's so great, why can't some of these protocols just like BRC20 just add OPCat into the protocol? And then it's like, we don't need Cat VM. We just added OPCat instead of using OpReturn or whatever it is, right? Or what if Runes does this instead of OpReturn? They just add, or they just use OPCat to do some of the stuff to increase. So that's kind of like one narrative or one point that I haven't really thought about. I mean, when you look at like the L2 space on Ethereum, it's becoming hyper specialized. These like kind of generic L2s are not really doing that well. I mean, Base is kind of like taking over the scene. You have Arbitrum, and Polygon's kind of fallen behind now. But now you have things like Blast, and then you have Pudgy Penguins, the Pudgy Penguin L2, you have the Zuki Anime L2, you have the Ape Chain. What if something like that happens on Bitcoin, to where instead of having this generalized Cat VM that you could use OPCat for, people just specialize all these like small kind of areas and no one uses it because it's too generalized? I don't think that will happen, but it's just something that I've been kind of thinking about.
Yeah, it's just the mind share, which is so important. And I think Udi, you know, if anybody can kind of rally people around one kind of mind share thing, I think he's got the best opportunity to do it. So, but it's even like with Isabel's thing, this past week, can they continue that mind share, to programmable runes through the time it takes for them to develop, to launch something, to have people maintain interest and get users on board and all this stuff. Like the odds of doing that are really slim. Like it's hard. I mean, I give them a very, very slim chance of success, right? Udi, I give a better chance of success, but dude, it requires a soft fork. Like this is like hard to do. Remember how long whatever Segwit took, right, to get done. Like to think that this is going to be like a flip a switch, it's going to happen, bro. I mean, this is really, really, they have their work cut out for them to get this done. And imagine, what if they don't get it done? What do they do then, right? If this doesn't happen, what are the Taproot Wizards or whatever his company's name? Like, what are they doing going forward other than selling JPEGs? Like, what kind of company are they? If this doesn't happen, their company is like
Toast,
complete toast. Like they bet their whole company on this. So it's interesting.
The one conversation that I was listening to that really captured my attention was the bridging aspect to it. Obviously, this is like in relation to Emblem Vault as well, and so seeing kind of what the bridges are, what teams are using, what type of bridging teams are using OPCat, and he said that there are multiple teams who are building EVM bridges. So it's a trustless bridge. Right. So essentially you say these are like Emblem competitors to a degree, or we just use OPCat ourselves to do it.
Yep.
He said there are EVM teams that are building EVM bridges. I would assume this is probably for fungible tokens, but could be for NFTs as well. He said there are SVM teams as well. He said like Arch Network and Zeus, which are these like Bitcoin Solana bridges, are also experimenting with OPCat. And it makes me think like, okay, if you can onboard, or if you can import any asset to Bitcoin, which is something we've been discussing for years now at this point, and you could do it trustlessly, but you have to do it through CatVM, what are the utilities of bringing everything to Bitcoin with a block time of 10 minutes, and you can only do 5,000 transactions per 10 minutes? It's a big question. It's something we still have no idea either, that we've talked about, but it is interesting that this does seem to be, if they are speaking in truth and not some, and they're not fibbing in certain areas. To me, that seems like this is the best way. Everyone wants a trustless bridge, but then to me, the question is like, what are the trust assumptions of CatVM? And Udi did say that they were going to release the specs sometime in the near future. That was one of the questions that they were proposing to him, and he said that it's not all going to be completely done by the time that OPCat is approved, or by the time, again, right, speaking in right, like he's speaking in like kind of future.
By the time it's approved, we'll be
he said that they won't be all ready by then, and so the question then is like, can they get front run as possible by a smaller team? Or right, if Starknet comes out and does this L2, but they have to use CatVM, right? There's still some questions, and from the technical side of things, I'm still trying to understand it. That's why every time I go on in space with Udi talking about it, I kind of just listen, because I'm trying to see if there's any inconsistencies with the way that he's framing things. And I haven't heard too much about it yet until we kind of see the specs.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's and whether it's going to be, I mean, like with the Ethereum L2s, where it's like, okay, there's only, if we're thinking about Bitcoin and whatever, it's only 5,000 transactions per block. So is it going to be like blobs like they do with L2s and on Ethereum? Who knows, man? Honestly, my brain starts overheating when I get into this, man. It doesn't really make sense to me. Does somebody just make a way to connect Ethereum to Bitcoin? And does that even make sense? I don't know. Maybe we're just meta jumping, looking for that next thing to create new bags that we can pump. Maybe we're all just playing that game, which feels like it to me with a lot of these L2s. And what's happening is people are just looking for next hype cycles. And in that way, like with what Isabel's doing, like she created hype, but there's nothing there for anybody to latch onto. And if there's nothing there for me to latch onto within this week, like it just kind of fades away. And then for her to revamp that cycle of hype is almost like good luck. You know, 6 months down the road, 8 months down the road, nobody cares. Like people have moved on. Like, what's up with BitVM? How's that doing? You know, it's like the attention span is so short. And there are so many of these protocols, meta protocols, L2s out there that the space, I think, is to a large extent just burnt on it right now. Just completely burnt.
Yeah. What's up, Smokes?
Oh, sorry, guys.
You're good. Go ahead, Smokes.
Oops. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we got you.
All right. Yeah. Hey, what's up? I was just raising my hand. Didn't mean to cut y'all off, but I was just wondering. So I was looking at Emblem Vault a little bit, and I was just wondering, would you ever add like utility for Bell's Coin to move, like to promote almost like NFTs within the Bell's Coin chain so that they can like, you know, move them chain to chain and it will help grow Bells, I feel like.
Yeah. So are you talking about Bells the asset or Bells the NFTs that are on top of it? Or are you just speaking all about all of it?
All of it in general. Like I was just like we don't really have many NFTs, I feel like, on Bells yet, just because there's not much utility out there for it. And like, you know, Nintendo is still working on their marketplace, so that's not complete yet. But like, would you guys be interested in listing them as a way to like, you know, do some cross-chain things?
You want to take this one?
Yeah, it's done, bro. You missed it, man. We actually did. We launched a full 10K collection on Bells called Embells, and we used our launch pad and actually minted them directly into Emblem vaults on Ethereum. So we've already done the cross-chain thing with Bells. It was our you probably weren't around. This was a couple months ago. We did our first launch pad with Bells. So yeah, it's done. We're going to do a lot more with it, obviously. But yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And we have, I can't really go into details, but the idea of bringing Bells, the native token, the native, you know, Bell, the actual coin cross chain is actually being worked on right now. So yes, that's a possibility in the future too.
Yep. So I have here pulled up on the live stream if you're watching. This is Embells. This was through our vault pad. It's a 10K collection. We still have to add traits to it. So we dropped the ball on that, but it's a 10K collection, Viva La Vandal art, and the assets were inscribed on Bell's coin, and then they trade on Ethereum currently. Right. Hasn't had that much attraction since the initial kind of hype wave. I assume once Bells 3.0 comes back, people will start using these. And once we start promoting it a little bit further, once our infrastructure is improved, we're all about Bell's coin. We love it. And as Adam said, there is a builder who is building a UTXO fungible token bridge using Emblem Vault. Adam and I have both looked at the white paper and it looks good. And so now the builder just has to kind of finish it and come through. He's somebody that I trust. He's definitely a smart dude. And yeah, I think he's going to start with Bell's coin is what it sounds like, and then kind of work their way outwards for it. So taking Bell's cross chain is definitely in the kind of short to medium term vision.
Okay, I see. No, I was here a couple months back. I've been here since December. I just haven't been super involved. Now I'm starting to get more involved. But I was checking a little bit and I see it's priced in Ethereum. Would you ever make it so that, like, you know, some things are priced in Bells?
Yeah, that's something that we're working towards. We have a solution for it. The way that we're gonna have to do it though, for these like cross-chain assets of being purchased in any token, is it's likely going to be listed in a stable coin like USD, so that there's a base of value, and then you'll be able to choose whatever token you want to purchase with. And it just makes it a little bit easier. So like right now, this Embells that I have on the screen is priced at $10. So it'll probably just say like 10 USDT or is USDC. And then, but you'll have an option to use Bell's coin as the purchase. Just keep in mind, since it is proof of work chain though, if you purchase with Bell's coin, it could take hours for it to confirm, unless it's Bell's 3.0 and maybe it's a little bit faster like Dogecoin.
Oh no! Currently, Bells is going pretty fast.
Is it ripping right now? When's the halving going to take place, man? Do we have a
I believe last thing I saw was we're pretty close. It should be less than a week. I would
Okay.
assume maybe 5, 6 days, but sometimes the block rate, you know, doesn't keep up and stuff like that. And we don't get to as many blocks, so it's just,
Yep.
I would say within a week, hopefully.
Nice.
I like Bell's coin. Obviously, Adam was one of the few who helped start it, but it was launched with the intention to experiment on it, and so it lacks this like tribalistic kind of community that you see on all these other chains. And so it basically came out of the box multi-chain, or the community that surrounded it was from all these other chains, and the community is very open to experimenting with these type of things, which I think is a big benefit for Bell's coin. Maybe not initially, but in the future, once this kind of cross-chain narrative is kind of center stage, I think Bell's coin will benefit from it very greatly.
Yep. And
True.
just so you know,
go
smokes, we're gonna like Mbell's part of the thing with Mbell's as an idea was that this is kind of our first product that we're gonna test out all this like cross-chain functionality. So, if we launch on an L2 on Bitcoin on Ethereum, say whatever, Blast, we go on to Blast because we want to bring product to Blast and Pac-Man. Mbells will be like first through the door to be able to try this stuff out. It's kind of the play around collection, to test out all this functionality, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, great. That sounds wonderful. And I was gonna say real quickly, so down as a listener, there's a guy named Booktoshi. He's a developer in Dogecoin. Like he does a lot of the inscriptions and inscription work on Dogecoin. And I was telling him, we were talking about it, how the Chinese market for Bell's coin is so massive. The Chinese Telegram is almost as big as the main Telegram, which
Really?
is like very bullish to me because they do so much innovation over there. And especially after all the Bitmain stuff came out where they want to include Bell's coin within their new L9 miner, like just their Telegram just massively blew up. And I feel like, they're here for the long run. A lot of the Chinese investors are here for the long run. They're not here for some, chump change.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we're excited, man. That's Emblem is working to scale and partner with all of this. So please keep all the ideas. And if there's anything for Bells that you guys would like, if there's any chain that you'd like to take it to, or the Chinese kind of side of it, just please let us know. We're very, very open to.
The Chinese want to have, maybe we need to launch on the Ton blockchain. Is that the next spot? Booktoshi, man, should we be launching on Ton right now?
That wouldn't be a bad idea, actually. I'm not exactly sure who's talking right now, but that wouldn't be a bad idea. Oh, hey, Adam. Hey, Adam. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Yeah, that actually wouldn't be a bad idea. I did notice that Bells was getting a lot of Asian traction. So doing something in that realm, I think would just be advantageous to the blockchain overall.
What do you
you
think?
probably get a lot more of them to run nodes than us.
If you had to, because I'm really not connected with Asian community at all. Give me, if you have it or their mindset for what they're looking for. I mean, are they just looking for stuff that's like, they think could moon 100x, like they're looking for super inexpensive, lottery ticket type plays, or what's their mindset?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much they're a lot like we are. They are just on the other end of the world. Yeah. So just because they are in China doesn't mean that they're any different from us. They still want to, they still talk about their tokens mooning every day. They're very much like we are, but they are on the other end of the coin. So do keep that in mind. Be very conscious, be careful. But they have a huge community and they are willing to learn. So that's one of the big things that can be advantageous to Bells, as a blockchain, because you guys are new or just growing again, I should say.
Yep.
Also, like I was telling Buck yesterday, I feel like within just from what I translate within their Telegram and stuff, like first of all, their economy is growing exponentially. So there's a lot of new money that people have. Like compared to here in the United States, most people's wealth is not growing drastically compared to average individuals in China. And so a lot of them have started to get into investing and all that. While Americans, we had that boom a while back and people started buying stocks and going into the stock market. Their boom is happening now, and what's the most relevant thing that's taking place right now that it has a potential to grow their wealth, to grow their assets, and that's cryptocurrency. So I feel like a lot of them are here for the long run. They're not here for a quick buck. You know, they're here to make millions, not to make a little bit.
Interesting.
Yeah, I support it, man. Bell's coin is interesting. Adam, what was the recent thing that I was seeing about Bell's coin being, or the merge mining being advertised with Bitmain or something like that?
Yeah. So Bitmain's just as part of their, like, they're launching their new Antminer L9, I think it's called. Yeah, just part of the sales pitch is that you can merge mine 3 chains at the same time. And so Bell's that 3rd chain. So yeah, it's just an extra, it's part of their sales pitch, like, maximize profits. That's what it's all about, right? And we all know mining is it's just about the most savage industry on earth. I mean, it is full free market capitalism. And so you've got to provide for them as the manufacturer. They have to provide the biggest incentive possible for those buyers. And yeah, so it's just an extra like money flow when you plug those miners in. You got Litecoin, Dogecoin, and now Bells. It's just like a little bit of extra money that people can make. So yeah, it's a sales tactic.
It's funny how dedicated a lot of us are. Like today, some company was talking about releasing a Dogecoin and Litecoin miner, and then all their comments are just all of us, including Adam and Luke, just being like, "Can you include Bell's coin too? Can you include Bell's coin too?" And they're like, "What the fuck?
What the hell is Bells, man?" Yeah, it's funny.
It's just a spam attack. We're like the Shiba Inu community in
I
2021."
got a question. Is there a way to mine Bells without using a miner, or no?
No. The hash rate is too high. So there's no way. I mean, the only way, if you don't have a miner, you can actually rent miners. I just don't know if it's probably not going to be profitable. If you ask in the community, in the Discord, people have done it, have just tried it out, where you go and you can literally rent miners by the hour kind of thing. But it probably makes sense to just take that same, $500 you were going to do and just go buy Bells on the market is probably the best strategy.
Okay, I was just wondering.
Yeah. Guys have tried it. It's like, even like, I know people with a bunch of guys who have literally miners in their garage. It's just mining for the individual. It almost never makes sense. Like, it's only, you have to be a big player to really make it make sense.
Gotta love Bells, man. Gotta love Bells. Go ahead.
If it becomes big, I'll buy a warehouse, put a bunch of solar panels on the roof, and get a bunch of miners.
Smokes, I believe, has a significant portion of his net worth in Bells. So he's one of those crazy ones, man. Either it's like private island or fucking in the ghetto on the street. One or the other, bro.
Either cardboard box.
For sure. He's gonna be on fucking Section 8 soon.
Section 8 or private island. There is no in between, bro.
Yeah. O block or get my own island.
I think Bells is probably one of the best risk return kind of options here. When you look at like the price activity of Bells, it generally is like the beta to Doge. Whenever Doge pumps, it seems like Bells pumps a lot harder. And so then on that aspect, you see what's the beta on Bell's coin, and it'll either be Nook or it'll be one of these NFT collections, right? Maybe it's Mbells, maybe it's I don't know, Bitcoin, or was it like Bells Rocks,
Yeah.
Bell Rocks, or some of these other ones. You just got to be a long-term holder in this situation. How long is it until the emission tail off is finally over with?
So, I mean, the first one, like Smokes was saying, like within a week, 10 days, it's going to be this next one. And that cuts it in half, right? But then the next one, which is probably, I mean, if the blockchain was running perfectly, 180 days out, half a year, that's the one that just takes it down to the nub. That's like the final one. It puts it at just I think it's 2,000 bells a day or something like that. It's like two bells per block to infinity. So that's when we'll see like the real, I think, running up to that one, you'll see if there's going to be a price run, that's when it's going to happen probably.
So you're saying maybe we still got probably another 9 months of holding,
Yeah.
modeling until
Yeah.
then.
I mean, look, this could go. We joke about it in the Discord, 10-cent bell, 5-cent bell, like certainly possible. Who knows how it's going to roll.
I hope not.
Hey, if you're dabbling with proof of work chains, you got to have the collector long-term holder mindset. These are not the proof of stake chains where you get these like very like high velocity price increases upwards or downwards. This is like a very gradual kind of incremental gains on all fronts: community, price, developer activity, etc. Proof of work chains have always been that way.
Always. I think the best strategy and the strategy that we could follow, talking to the community here about like what's the ideal strategy, what should you do as a bell holder to help awareness build, is like go just make 100 memes and share them with the community. And like if everybody makes 100 memes and it's 100 memes for every bell holder on down, and there's 100 of us in the Discord, right? 100 hardcore people, and we just get out there and it just becomes, that's the way it actually works. Like Smokes was saying, it's SHIB and, the last cycle. Like that's the way it works. And I don't see any SHIB, memes now, right? Zero. You don't even see Dogecoin memes anymore, right? Because it's fully like, you don't need them anymore, right? But to get to that point, you gotta meme yourself into existence.
Yeah, when you think about it, right? How do you get traction if price is being pretty much flat, or you're saying, it's known we probably have another 6 to 9 months of high inflation. How do you go get traction? Cross chain is one of those, right? It's how do you capture attention? So if you get V bells as an ERC20 and you go take it to Ethereum and start dabbling with the DeFi, try to get these like whales on Ethereum to notice it and then start looking into it and making large investments in Ethereum, or you have to grab attention on the timeline, which is Twitter pretty much, which is what Adam was saying. So you got to either get on-chain attention or you got to get the off-chain attention from the media platforms. And dabbling with DeFi is interesting, right? These whales on that dabble in the institutional side of DeFi on Ethereum, they're very much a numbers person. So if they see this kind of bridge token over there, they're going to look into it. And then maybe they come over and they're like, oh, this has a community. Somehow it's trading in the DeFi ecosystem. It's at a $5 million market cap. And you can just see like a massive purchase.
They just throw $1 million in and it's like, exactly.
Or they're smart. So they'd probably like DCA into it so that they don't tip off people that they're coming in and acquiring. Like they're very smart by the number type people, but that's an option. It doesn't seem like it's explored yet, but could possibly hint be explored pretty soon.
Yep.
So don't do it like me, where I just made a god candle when it went back down.
Yeah, that's where you get these. That's where you get these like wallet watchers. Sorry, that's where you get these like wallet watchers where people watch people trying to DCA into things to try to see, and then they try to follow the wallets to see like where that leads to. So people will, disperse across, hundreds of wallets. This is like what MicroStrategy does. Disperse across hundreds or thousands of wallets, and they'll buy, $10, or I guess in MicroStrategy's point, like $10,000 every few seconds or every few minutes, and it'll be spread across weeks sometimes or months at a time. But that will slowly, incrementally push the price up, or they just come in and they're just gobbling up the inflation, basically.
Yep.
For sure. I was gonna say, like, I just turned 22, so I'm still pretty young. But from my like 7 to 8 years that I've been in crypto, like I've noticed that when people say, oh, it's gonna be inflationary, don't buy, it's gonna go down, is the time when you buy. Because whenever like people say don't buy, it's just gonna go back up. Like they're gonna buy. People will tell you not to do something so that they can do it. So it's never too late to get into crypto or anything. Always, if you feel like you have a hunch, do it. Don't listen to people. And I
Can you
feel like
imagine, Jake, 22, you've been in crypto for 8 years?
Yeah, you got in probably your freshman year of high school. I think Nick Carter was the same situation. He was one of the biggest like Bitcoin advocates. I think he got in like very early in high school as well.
Wow.
I couldn't buy because I wasn't 18. I bought when I was 18, but I've been like following charts for 4 years prior to buying.
Dude, you're set
Which
up
sucks.
perfectly. You're set
Yeah,
up
but it
perfectly.
sucks because I missed the price from 4 years before.
There was a story that when I got into crypto, I think this was around like 2018 or 2019. There was an individual or a kid who was 11 years old who had taken like the $200 or $500 that he got for his birthday and bought Bitcoin when it was like $50 or something like that. And then by the time, and then by the time, I think it was like 2019 or 2020 or something like that, it was like well into like the 8-figure range, like before he even left high school.
I know a kid. Well, I don't know the kid, but he's a friend of the family in a town. I won't even mention the town, but he took his bar mitzvah money. This was like a decade ago, and like it turned into like hundreds of millions of dollars. And dude, but the kid's in like fucking with a psychiatrist because it fucks you up. That fucks you up when you're that young. So you're lucky, smokes, because it can fuck you up. You know, you gotta earn it a little bit. If you don't earn it, it can mess up your whole. That kind of wealth can really mess up your life. So it's good to grind a little bit for it, man. So you're grinding right now. It's a good thing, man. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I have a friend who lives in Vegas out on my podcast. He created an app when he was a freshman or sophomore in high school called 69 Positions. It was 69 sex positions. This was on the Apple iPhone 1.
Oh my God. Early, bro.
And he sold it for $6.90. And by the time he graduated, it had over 5 million downloads.
Oh my God.
And he told me, he was like, you know, when you're in high school, you start considering, do I drop out? What's the point of life? Like, I'm already set. You know, I've already like tens of millions of dollars. Like, what do you do? He's in the tech space now and still building stuff, but he literally all through college just massive partier. Massive partier in college. It was a fun time.
Yeah, having those life questioning moments are supposed to happen later in life, not when you're 20, right? It's really rough, man, to have it that early. But money softens the blow.
What's up, every day? What are you thinking?
Yeah, man, I love the conversation. So I had a question about Bell's Coin, but first, you know, you're triggering all these old man memories. Like I'm a proper old man now. And as you talk through these things, I remembered, if you have time, like the FD card, that folding card.
Yep.
And it relates back to mining. So the community behind that, it started as folding coin. And you just run it on your computer. It was folding proteins. It was amazing, right? I mean, I loved it because you were helping out. You were folding proteins to help find a cure for Alzheimer's.
Exactly.
And then the reward was folding coin. It was just a beautiful solution.
Yep.
So anyway, but my question about Bell's Coin is, number one, where do I buy it? Where's the best place to buy it?
Yep.
And then what's the history behind the logo? Like, what is that? What does that mean to you, Adam?
So the best place to buy it is an exchange called Non-KYC, NONKYC. You can search it on Twitter and you'll find the exchange. But to say, I mean, dude, do not keep your money on the exchange, right? You know, well, if it's a few $100, you can keep your money on the exchange, right? But if you're doing any sort of substantial kind of investing, you want to get it off the exchange, just come in the Discord and you can, you know, download the web extension wallet to do it that way. The reason for the icon, basically when Billy Marcus created it and launched the coin back in 2013, he did it and named it Bell's Coin because bells are like the in-game currency for Animal Crossing, the Nintendo game. And so that's where kind of all the stuff around bells comes from, is basically Animal Crossing. He swiped it from Nintendo. So that's the kind of the background of the coin, was that in that game, you're using bells as the in-game currency. He just was like, well, I'm going to do it, but on the blockchain. And so, yeah, that's how Bell's Coin kind of was born.
Love it, because that's important, right? If we're going to pump our bags with memes, you've got to know the origin of the culture to create the perfect meme. So yeah,
that's why we're relying on you. You got to come in the Discord, bro. You got to give us, you know, those 100 memes that are going to grow this community, bro.
Also, if you want to run a node, so I got convinced by Adam I bought a computer recently so I can run a node for bells to help, you know, verify transactions and stuff. And you can keep a wallet on there. It's like pretty good. safest way to keep your bells. So we're probably gonna do like a Discord call or something, and like he's gonna help me, and all of you can also listen and also can get notes too, and you can learn through it that way. So we'll do it on the Discord.
Yeah. So if you're gonna like hold significant amount where you'd be bummed out about it getting lost or something like that, or getting stolen or your computer hacked, you can run a node and basically hold the wallet like offline. Old school, like Bitcoin old school, like on a, on a memory stick type of way of storage, right? So yeah, it's old school like that. So, basically the wallet, if you run a full node, the wallet runs like an old Bitcoin wallet. And so it's a wallet and a miner in one. And it's, although it doesn't mine anymore, but when we originally created it, it actually mined and stuff. But that's the most secure. But we have a pretty good web wallet called Nintendo. But you got to jump in the Discord to get it hooked up.
So speaking of proto runes earlier, maybe Sandshrew was listening, and Oil, they actually just put a tweet out literally during this conversation, giving a recap of what it actually is. So Judo Flex Chop, I've actually talked with him on call before, and Isabel are the ones that are behind it. Just to give an explanation of what it is. So it's a proto rune standard. So think of it as they call it a sub protocol. And down here it says that it'll be indexed by the Metashrew Indexer Toolkit. Ooh. And then, so basically they're using everything. And then it connects indexers created using Metashrew. So it could be hosted by Sandshrew. And then the potential for building it index later for a Sub-Zero protocol. So basically what they did here, Sandshrew and also Oil, really cool team. We've talked with them. We're probably going to be working with them from the Emblem side as well. They just built out all these different tools, and they're like, well, how do we generate some attention towards this? Let's build a sub protocol for Bitcoin or for runes, and then we'll just use all of these tools that we've built. It's almost as like self-insulated kind of technology. And they're like, and then maybe that attracts some builders to say, hey, let's use this toolkit, the Metashrew toolkit, to build our own sub protocol or meta protocol on Bitcoin. It's kind of a similar strategy that we've done at Emblem, honestly, where whenever we launch a new product, you have to launch a project or something alongside it. You need people to like ape the token, or people need something to buy in order for the attention to remain on it and not just kind of dissipate. So just wanted to add a little note there because we were talking about it a little bit earlier. I will call on Fork, who has their hand up. Thanks for joining us on stage.
Hey, what's up, guys? No, I just had a question regarding the team. Do you know if the team is in talks of, upgrading their culture or anything in the kitchen? Because I'm just a lost fork, and I'm just trying to find, a new avenue to go down in.
Which team are you talking about? Which chef are we talking about here?
Well, I came from FTX's kitchen, but they went down under, and so I was left, in the poultry dish for a few months, and somehow Lana Rhodes ended up picking me up. But man, I'm just so tired of eating the same shit every day, and I want to get back on this, degen grind. 2024, MAGA's coming, crypto's about to storm everybody. And I'm trying to get back on the crypto train. I'm
just a fork looking for some food.
I'm just a fork. I'm a lost degen fork, man. Like, I'm trying to get back on the degen train.
I mean,
bro,
we got a
trains
bunch of
everywhere, man. They're leaving stations. They're everywhere, bro. Just pick up Twitter, man. You're here, bro. There's endless cooks making endless shit. We're talking about one right now. I mean, a proto runes protocol, meta protocol. What is it? I thought that was
in that kitchen, bro. I want to be in that kitchen.
Go do it, dude. Be in that kitchen. They're cooking. They're cooking over there, man. It'll be interesting to see what happens if they have. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I don't know.
I don't bend either. I'm not like the other forks. I don't bend.
What?
So you're not a spork. Got it.
No, hell no.
Well, we got.
You won't catch me in.
Catch me on the outside.
Catch me on
Did you say Lana Rhodes? Did you say Lana Rhodes earlier?
You threw in Lana Rhodes. I don't even know what is going on here, man. I love it.
All kinds of stuff. Well, Adam, maybe we should wrap it up here so that whoever's down in the U.S. could go celebrate the 4th of July, or if you're just in the crypto community, you can slit your wrist because Bitcoin is just tanking because the Germans are dumping on us on Independence Day, and the ETH ETF wick has now almost fully unwound to where it was beforehand, which is kind of interesting because the ETH ETF is supposed to go live in like 2 weeks. So it makes you wonder if it's actually going to pump. I put this tweet out the other day and I was like, I haven't seen anyone say they're bullish on the ETH ETF simply because Germany, the US government, and the FTX and Mt. Gox estates can't dump on us because they have all Bitcoin, right? They're dropping Bitcoin. They ain't dropping Ethereum there. So maybe that's just a bullish because we can't get dumped on.
I mean, I just look at it. This is the same vibes as like 21. Like it's just the halving. This is like, it happens every cycle where people are like, oh, it's over. Oh my God. That was such a quick cycle. It's all over. It's very unlikely that it's over. That's just general feeling from people who have been here before many times. I'm not talking about myself. The general vibes is this is the way it goes. And if you paper hand out, now if you're selling Bitcoin now, bro, you are, I mean, unless you're a trader, you're crazy to paper hand your Bitcoin right now. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents. But
this cycle, since we're both on the building side, we've been on the trading side the last few times. I'm actually kind of hyped for this downturn because it gives more time for the developers to build shit. Because when the price is going up, most the teams just have to pay attention to the community and the wins and people in Discord complaining about price, and you're basically just ensuring that the protocols don't break when there's a lot of momentum. And so during a downturn, right, people leave. If you notice, like engagement's down across the board, like everyone's engagement's down. So everyone's going touching grass, and it gives the development teams across all these different projects to actually build some shit and release it and really get it battle tested. So I'm actually welcoming this one this time. Generally I'm not, but as now we're on the builder side, I'm actually kind of hyped for it. And it gives devs a little bit of a sigh of relief and the engineers to build in peace.
Totally, man. Totally. Good times ahead, guys. Don't worry.
Good times are ahead. Yep. On the Emblem side, we're building a lot of shit. Emblem Markets is launched. There's a lot of improvements that we have to bring to it. Emblem Vision will be dropping sometime later this month. And we're going to complete the migrations. Hopefully this month. We got Shannon in the kitchen cooking up all these migrations. So we got 22,000 vaults to bring over to Emblem Markets to increase that activity. Once we do have the migration done, we will have 41 collections that have over 200 assets inside of them. Right now, there's literally like 6, or 5. So there'll be a lot more activity on the marketplace once that migration is complete. But we will wrap it up here. For those that don't know, Adam, myself, and Chris, who are on stage, work at Emblem Vault, the leading cross-chain protocol in the industry with over 100 million in TVV. We host the show Tuesday through Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. Every Thursday, we host the Inscription Show that covers everything stamps, counterparty, ordinals, runes, Litecoin ordinals, ETHscription. Did I say stamps already? Doge Party, Doginals, everything, Hashnals, right? There's just all of these cool emerging ecosystems. Tuesday and Wednesday, we feature guests from across these different protocols, and we do some market discussions. We'll be back Tuesday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. Make sure you follow the Emblem account so that you could hear more about the cross-chain future. Until then, if you're in America, enjoy Independence Day. If you're not, then also enjoy your independence and make sure you don't sell your Bitcoin at the bottom. We'll see you guys back here on Tuesday. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Bye.